all for being here this afternoon. I really appreciate it. Just to give you guys a little bit of a quick rundown, in a few minutes I'm going to turn it back over to Rose and JJ, and they're going to speak for a little while. And then you guys are going to have the opportunity to ask any questions you might have. I know a lot of you got index cards as you came in, so please, if you have any questions that maybe don't get answered, or maybe they can't answer for you right now, please write that question now and get it up to me or any member of student government at the end of the event, and we'll make sure that those questions get answered. Also, the event is going to be live streamed by Mason Cable News Network, and we're also having it videotaped so that later it can be uploaded to the student government website as well as our social media. So please tell any friends you have that couldn't be here that there is still a way that they can see the presentation. And if they have any questions, they're always more than welcome to reach out to student government at any time. I'd also like to give a quick shout out to everyone in student government for helping me put this event together. They deserve a huge round of applause from you guys. Everybody did a lot of work for this event, and I really appreciate everything that they've done to help me out over the last few weeks of getting it all put together. And now I'd like to turn it back over to JJ Davis, our Senior Vice President for Administration and Finance, and Rose Pascarel, our Senior Vice President for University Life. Thank you.
Awesome. So welcome. We realize we're standing between you potentially and spring break, right? Spring break's next week? Anybody excited? Yeah. Right. A little tempered enthusiasm. We might need some more sugar this afternoon. So as you all know, I'm JJ and this is Rose, and really this presentation is designed for students specifically. We were asked a series of questions by the student body, and we hope that we are responsive to those questions. We care passionately about Mason and feel that our job in part is to answer students' questions, concerns. So with that, Rose, do you want to make any introduction?
We were also asked to be even more transparent in terms of where your tuition dollars go. So the presentation is really an attempt to do just that, and we hope that you experience it that way. But there'll be plenty of opportunity to ask questions if you have questions.
And before we get going with our amazing PowerPoint presentation, you all can hear us, correct? Even in the far back. Yes? Yes. All right, let's roll. So you are at part of an amazing institution. It goes without no surprise to you all, but recently in the news, as you know, George Mason was just awarded a very prestigious designation as being a very high research university. So that's an incredible statement, both nationally and internationally, and we're very excited. It's a lot of hard work with faculty, staff, and students. So to be able to get that Carnegie distinction is nothing short of awesome. Second, you want to take a second? Council of Undergraduate Research.
Yes, you take the second.
Okay, so we also were just awarded the Council of Undergraduate Research Excellence in Undergraduate Research Projects. So again, another national distinction, critically important because it really connects our students with world-class researchers in Mason. And last but not least, I can't go the first slide without talking about our fabulous green machine. Woo, right? Doc Nix isn't in the house, he gives his apologies, but best pet fan in the country, and awesome every time you see them, which is a mixture of lots of great students and faculty and staff as well. So, and we have a little bit more news, right? We all survived the Great Blizzard of 2016, right? It was pretty awesome, pretty crazy here on campus. We produced thousands and thousands of meals in 45 minutes, and you guys had lots of extra study time. Well, you're a tough crowd today. Woo! All right, so a couple of other things. Point guard Taylor Brown was just named 2016 All-State National Association by basketball coaches. And we just had a student, Elise, who just got an internship at the Security Exchange Commission. So pretty exciting.
I'm going to add just a couple more that aren't up there. So got word in the last couple of weeks that the Resident Student Association was given the award for Best Program of the Year in all of the schools in Virginia for their Love is Louder program, which is a program that focuses on bullying and the impact of that in terms of depression and self-harm. So shout out to RSA and all the great work that they've done. Also want to acknowledge student government for their great work working on sexual violence prevention, They also did the Patriots in Action program this year, which is a program that's been acknowledged by the White House, so thank you for your great work. And we are a member of an elite group of universities that are part of the Clinton Global Initiatives University. 14 of our students were invited to go to UC Berkeley in April to present on their projects. The CGIU project focuses on college students and their work around eliminating poverty and building a more sustainable future and social justice. 14 students from Mason are going to that, and 4 of those students were invited to present to the entire conference, which is over 1,000 students, on their work on water sanitation in the Amazon and working with undocumented students and dreamers in the whole kind of Northeast region. So lots of great student accolades.
Okay, so now let's talk about money, my favorite subject. And it's all of yours too, right? Okay. So a couple things. We talked a little bit about college investment, and it's a huge investment. It's both time, it's money, it's energy. And what the students, led by the Student Government Association, asked for was to be very direct. Where are my tuition dollars going, and where are my student dollars going? First time we've ever produced this for you, so bear with me. I have some extra graphics in here. So we're really excited. This was an educational campaign for all, and we hope that it's informative and responsive to your questions. So specifically, I like graphics, so bear with me. We describe this as Meet the Patriot, right? An average patriot that comes in takes 12 in house credits or more. They pay about $7,976 in tuition, right? In-state, so I'm going to focus on in-state. And about, whoops, I went too fast now. And about $2,976 in fees. So in total, that individual walks into George Mason University to get their world-class education, and they're paying about $10,952 today. To add to that, we are a state public institution, and we are funded by the Commonwealth. We've had lots of previous discussions about, in the last 15 to 20 years, there's been a disinvestment on behalf of the state. But most notably, the state provides about $5,488 per in-state student. So that plus the tuition roughly is $13,464 per patriot of resources that come to the institution to educate. No quiz. Any questions so far? All right. So, where does money go? So, we broke it down very specifically. First is tuition. 91% of those $13,000 goes directly back into student services and programming. Classrooms, student services, lights, operations of these buildings, faculty, which is the #1 expense, right? Those people that instruct you into your studies, and technology. 9%, the rest of all of those dollars, goes into, I call it the everything other bucket, or institutional support. Most notably within the institutional support, it's things like admissions, fundraising, marketing, communications, me, my office, budget, the accountants, legal team, and so forth. Okay? Helpful? Yes, okay. Keep going. So of the 91%, you might say, okay, I got it, 91% or 91 cents on the dollar goes directly to students. Tell me a little bit more about that. Right? So let's drill in. 73% is directly classroom, faculty, and advising. Pretty simple. Next, 7% is student services and scholarships. As you know, we have merit scholars, we have discounting programs, we have direct student services above and beyond, counseling center, for example. That goes there. By the way, this will all be posted, so those of you fast and furiously taking notes, we'll provide the slides post this presentation on our website. And last but not least, operations and plant maintenance. We are a very large, complex facility, as you know, constantly under construction, right? Growing. But operations, facilities, plant maintenance, and so forth. Next, let's talk a little bit about fees. Right? We talked about Meet the Patriot, individual walks in. Annually, they're spending about $2,976, approximately. That's exactly what they're paying. Athletics is $544. So all of the athletic programs that you see, basketball, volleyball, track and field, we have 22 sports, so help me out here. What else? Baseball, softball, swim dive, lacrosse, men and women's volleyball, there you go. Okay? Next, student services and activities, everything from transportation, health services, concerts, activities, the event was just produced an hour ago, student government. Right? And facilities is about $1,600. Rec, aquatic center, all of the things that make the experience more than just the education in the classroom. You want to add anything, Rose? I'm rolling here.
Yeah, no, you're doing great. No, and also including the student services in both the tuition dollars and the fees are all the student support services in addition. So there's all the great co-curricular stuff, and then the other things like student health services, like international services, disability services.
So why is this important? Because it costs a lot of money, right? And so one of the things that we think about is, wow, investing in your college degree is critical. And you may say, well, why, right? The reality is, on average, a person that goes from a high school to a college degree will earn $1 million more in their lifetime. That's actually verified information that's out on the website. And important, in addition to that, as a Mason graduate, you have a very competitive starting salary. In fact, the best in the Commonwealth, right? So you pick Mason and you pick Ray. So best ROI, return on investment, out of any other Virginia Commonwealth.
Can we stop there for a second?
Yeah.
So better than UGA?
Better than UGA. William and Mary.
Okay.
It's on our website. Most of you have seen the slide, right? Cost, degree, past graduation. Okay. Because I can bring that back. We haven't showed it now. And a couple of other things, right? So you think about it, wow, I'm spending, $10,000 plus the $2,900 in my fees, that's a lot of money. But when you look at that return on investment, again, it's $1 million over your lifetime relative from high school to college, and it has enhanced knowledge, experience, and opportunity. So I just put some reference points, $30,000 average cost of the car right now, average wedding is costing about $27,000. Not to say that those might not be important to you as well, but the return on investment there is cool. Ready to transition? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the Mason Strategic Plan and how we become the University of the World. Yeah, it's all you. We have to tag team this, right?
Don't get excited, it's just 2 slides. But many of you have heard the president talk about the institutional plan and our incredible kind of continued commitment to access, right? So one of the things I want to highlight here is the development of the Stay Mason program. How many folks are familiar with the Stay Mason program? Right, so the Stay Mason program are essentially completion grants that we give to students who are experiencing financial uncertainties, who can't complete the cost of attendance at Mason, but are students here, right? And we want to do everything we can to help them complete. Last year, there were, many student groups, including student government, who worked with us to establish the Stay Mason Fund. It's a fund that has $1 million in it, and it's focused on providing these completion grants and also focused on developing financial literacy programs for students. So how have we done? The program was piloted up and running in October, and since October, we've given out close to $200,000. There's been a little more than 160 applications from students. Not all have been funded, but we have a kind of a 2-tier process. So those students who kind of don't meet the criteria, we're also working with through financial aid to help assist them and get them the aid that they need. And we expect this program to continue. It's had great results. You can see the URL to look at the application process online, but a team of staff and students came together to build the Stay Mason application, which is, I think, a pretty student-friendly application. I think it's the reason why we've gotten the number of applications that we've gotten and why the committee continues to meet. Maggie, anything else that you highlight about Stay Mason? Dr. Maggie is our director of the program.
No, I just wanted to encourage students to continue applying because I know there's a great need, and we review applications once a month. So if you know of anybody who is especially in an emergency kind of situation, have them apply.
Thank you. Remember, these are grants. These are not loans, so students don't have to repay them. So that was a great kind of student administrative initiative. If you look at this next slide, I want to tell you about a few more. And again, which really speaks to the commitment to student success and also speaks to the commitment of students on campus to really want to work with us in order to enhance their experience at Mason. So as I said, the second part of the Stay Mason program that's not quite ready for prime time yet is the development of a financial literacy program, something that would be available to the entire institution. This is not unusual and not unique to George Mason, but particularly at a school as committed to access as we are, we want to make sure students and their family members have all the information they need to plan ahead for 4 or more years of tuition and fees. There's also been an initiative actually started by student government, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, that would be yes, to establish 24/7 study space on campus, right? Because we have a large residential population, but we have an even larger commuter population. For the last couple of years, that space has been located in the Ridge, which is in a residence hall, which you might say to yourself, why would you have a space in a residence hall that's really focused on commuter student study needs? It's because that was the space that was available. With the new Fenwick Library Edition opening, and JJ will say more about that in a minute, we now have a 24/7 study space available to students that just opened, I want to say last weekend. And again, thanks to the work of students, you're able to stay on campus 24 hours and work hard and study hard if you want. There's another initiative that we're involved in around inclusive excellence. So some of you may know about the Concerned Students movement that's happening nationally across the country. It's happening here on campus. So we heard from students about really wanting us to spend more focus, create more of a strategic priority on cultural competence for faculty, staff, and students, on recruiting more faculty of color in the classroom, and really creating a campus climate that's inclusive to all. We're working with a group of students, and the Inclusive Excellence Initiative you will hear more about in the coming months as we try to work together on a set of programs and opportunities. Sexual assault prevention, another initiative that really has come out of student initiative, again, with several students and student organizations on campus. This is a national conversation as well, and again, if it's happening around the country, it's happening at George Mason. We've worked very diligently with the Sexual Assault Task Force and the Sexual Assault Implementation Committee to really make real our commitment to ending sexual violence on campus. None of that would be happening if it weren't for the participation of students in that. And then finally, and all of this is tied to the budget, by the way, right? So I'm telling you about kind of the student initiatives that have been motivated by students that are focused on student success. All of these have budget implications, which is why it's important that it be part of this conversation. The last one, I'm calling the Mason Shuffle project. Has anybody heard about the Mason Shuffle? Students? Anybody use that term, Mason Shuffle? What we hear kind of repeatedly is that students feel that they get bounced from office to office to office to office, right? Now, Jeffrey and others are nodding their heads. So that's the experience. Maybe you don't call it the Mason Shuffle. We've just begun what will really probably be a 3-year project that's called the Student Experience Mapping Project, where we will work with students and faculty and administrators to really identify all the places that students move from one office to another, right? Whether it's to change a major or get a transcript or get a direct support service in an effort to really improve our services and streamline the ways that students are able to get their needs met. So really looking forward to that project, which we think will have big impact.
So let's start back a little bit more to some of the things that are also on the horizon. So Rose has really talked about issues related to students, and this one is related to students, faculty, and staff. So I hope you like our graphics, but if you look at when I went to the university, you can see it was a tin can. It was definitely not an iPhone, right? It was the portable computer, so a portable electric typewriter, so I'm dating myself and how old I am. And obviously today, now 98% of students have cell phones. And average young adult, which was defined as 20-something when I defined what was young adult, has an average of 6.8 devices. And as I walked through the Johnson Center today, I sort of took note of how many people have a laptop and their iPhone. More people than not have at least 2 devices connecting it, right? So one of the challenges for us is in this technological revolution is how does Mason keep pace, right? Any experience some Wi-Fi problems? Okay, so we're working on it. I think that's the important thing. Can you be my clicker? I'd love to. So, and this is supposed to be the funny part, so please feel free to erupt in laughter, right? So it used to be air, water, food, shelter, comfort, safety, but we all know the world's changing. And what's really important, at least to my 14-year-old, first and foremost is, do you have Wi-Fi, right? It's not good enough just to have a house now. Now she wants me to buy a car with Wi-Fi included. So hey, it's a joke, but it is ever increasingly important, right? That we have access 24/7 to our friends, our family, and to whatever's going on. So we have actually been working on this, led by the IT team, to look at what would it take. And as we do, as we're growing rapidly, and people have more devices and more streaming of Netflix and videos and presentations by your professors, we have a need to upgrade our systems. So we have been able to understand that we need between $40 and $50 million. That's no small amount of money. And we need to find a way to make it convenient to you all, redundant, right? If it goes down, we've got to find a backup way to keep it going. So, okay, keep going. So, and I would describe it as the urgent need Wi-Fi everywhere, right? Mason Shuffle. Okay, you guys are tough. Come on! Huh? Oh, she's saying this is tougher than the faculty and staff 2 days ago. I might agree with you. So, I just want you to know, wireless access points in 2012 were 1,792. Today we have 3,406. Right now we're focused on where are lots of people concentrated, most notably here, right? Johnson Center, Main Point. So we're in the process of doing upgrades right now to Wi-Fi here. And we have spring 2016, we'll finish 35% of the doors, because that's the other place that we see lots of people wanting juice all the time. So, but it's expensive. So just note that's something in terms of future pressure on tuition and other things, that's an area of focus for us. Another one, right? So I can't promote this enough. Biggest concern of students 3 years ago when I got here was not enough study spaces. You've got 2,000 now study spaces at 24/7. Use it, it's awesome. How many have been in it? Okay, if you haven't been in it, as you're on your way home today, please go in it. It's awesome, and it's got lots of space. So study spaces, places to convene, get together, and so forth. But it's expensive, right? It's a mega building, 157,000 square feet. We have to pay for lighting, heating, and so forth. But it's exciting. Next, let's show it. It's graphics. Come on! All right, so that's good. Yeah, that's good. You guys are really tough. I'll have to embed video. So just so you know, Robinson Hall had a 10-year campaign, right, to convince the state, and thanks to Mason Lobbies and all of our Board of Visitors and our president, and lots of advocacy, we have finally convinced the legislature and the governor, we believe, knock on wood, that we will get construction money to demolish and start over with Robinson. That will be disruptive, right? It is critically important that we start over with Robinson. It's got 30% of our university's classrooms. How many of you have classes in Robinson? Are they great? No. Okay. Audience participation. Great? No. Okay, so we're going to do something about it, but it will be, there'll be a lot under construction. So we will find out, confirm by April whether the state will in fact fund the construction. At the moment, it is sitting in the governor's budget and the House and the Senate, so we're really thankful, right, Paul? No pressure. Paul Liberty runs our government relations, so he works on this. Yay! But this is critically important to us, and it means for future generations of Patriots, we will have state-of-the-art classrooms and offices. Okay. So now let's really talk money, right? So this is, we did this 2 days ago for the faculty and staff. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it because several of you were there, but I think it's important to sort of ground at the macro level of the university's budget. You keep looking at my slippery. Yes, I got to help you out. Up here. I'm back in charge. Powerful. Power. Okay, so you've all seen this slide before. We operate about $1 billion operating budget. We talked extensively around the tuition, which is the green portion down here, and we talked about what comes from the individual patriot, in terms of tuition and fees, and what comes from the state. We're really focused right now on what's going on with the state budget, which is the yellow section. So, important things here. That's the extent budget, no exciting things. This is an eye chart, there's not a test. But what's important to note here is after 2 years of base budget cuts from the Commonwealth, there's been a reversal. So we actually are anticipating additional money from the state, both in terms of operating dollars and capital dollars. I think that's a large testament to Mason lobbies, student advocacy, again, board involvement, but a general sense that public institutions need state investment. So, all I can say here is there's some great news, both for students, faculty, and staff. I'll focus in on the students. In the governor's budget, there is a proposal for an additional $3 million for undergraduate financial aid. That's huge, right? Helping those students who are in need. In addition to that, one of the biggest issues we have here on this campus is finding competitive ways to pay our faculty and staff. We are behind. In all three proposals, there is pay increases. Obviously, the House proposal is the most lucrative, but we're working through that as we speak. Why is this important? Because all of this factors into how do we set tuition and fees in May, right? What are we going to get from the state? What are we not going to get from the state? How do we fund this overall budget? And last but not least, additional money for enrollment growth. We've been seeing explosive growth, so projects that we need to fund, whether it be Wi-Fi, whether it needs to be equipment in the classrooms, all of that is tied in. Am I going too fast now? You're stunned by my brilliance. I'm staying between you and dinner. I mean, come on. I'm staying between you and spring break. Is that it? Okay. Whew. Okay. So as I said before, a couple of other items to note. Robinson Hall, critically important. We've also asked for funding from the state to do utility distribution. It doesn't sound sexy, it isn't, but it is sewer and water. Those are really important things. If you think about the history of this university, we grew up as a very tiny commuter school. Guess what? The underlying infrastructure is still from a commuter school, right? With 4 or 5 buildings. There are now over 135 buildings on this campus. So we have to upgrade the basic infrastructure of the building. Same thing with the Wi-Fi. That really is the other piece of the project. We're asking for planning funds. Not clear if we'll get it. If we don't get planning funds, we will find a way to self-fund that because we have to upgrade things like the Wi-Fi. Last but not least, and many of you have been involved in this, we believe as we become an even bigger and more complex organization and exciting, we want to have more control over our destiny. So we're asking for additional financial flexibility from the state, which means we have to do less state sort of required paperwork and stuff like that. It's an intense negotiation. Don't know whether it will be successful, but I think for Mason's long-term health, we need to find ways to become more independent. We're a very big, complex organization. And many of you who work sort of on the processing side of things know that the state government rules and regulations can be a bit cumbersome as we're more complex at a higher level. All right. Okay, so mark your calendars and turn it back to Rose. All power.
Lots of activities, both important to the budget conversations that
You won't take it back.
No, I'm afraid to. But look, lots of programming coming up, lots of great programs for the student community that you should take advantage of. This is a slice of it. There's much, much, much more than that. Spring semester is that heavy-duty programming and engagement, planning and programs for the year. And there are significant dates for you to notice. The end of March is the next Board of Visitors meeting. And in April, the final state budget will be approved. And in May 5th, the board will approve the financial plan that the budget team puts forward.
Right. So in a nutshell, what we're working on, as we said, meeting students' needs and demands in terms of services, programming, trying to find ways to make Mason continue to be affordable and accessible. Things like the Stay Mason program, things like the inclusive initiative that's new that we're working on. And at the same time, being able to make sure we have enough resources to address the needs that we have. So specifically with respect to tuition and fees, we will design that in April once we have the full state budget. We want to work with students in terms of developing what are the needs and wants of students. And then May, we will seek approval for the Board of Visitors. Okay, and I'm a quote person, so I like this one. You don't have to like it. You don't even have to give me the ooh and ah. But it is a good quote, right? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Good quote, not good quote? Read it. Okay, all right. What is success? Right? Everybody. You want? Okay, so now I'm on big pressure. What is success? Right? I think it's a mixture of having a flair for what is it? The thing you were doing, knowing that it's not enough, that you have to have hard work and a certain sense of purpose. One of the coolest things about working at Mason is a true sense of purpose, right? Up overhead, right? What I get to do is watch students gain knowledge and go out into the workforce and be rock stars. That's what I get to watch them do. And I love working. And if it doesn't show, I don't know what else shows because I'm goosebumps. But I'm really honored to work here. I have the privilege of every day working with Rose Pascarel, which is also a rock star. And we just love being here. So thank you for allowing us to be here today. And I gave index cards at the beginning, so if you have questions, give me those index cards and we'll work through questions. If not, engage us. We'll be here. I know we're staying between you and spring break potentially, but we're around and we're building a financial plan and we love your input. So with that,
And wait, I would say, the hell with spring break. We're here, there's a lot of people here to get all your questions answered. There are lots of subject matter experts in the room on different areas, whether it's housing or Wi-Fi or dining or the services that you have that we hear about through social media are bothering you or that you have questions about. So this is the moment to ask your questions and take full advantage of that and just wait a little bit longer for spring break, right?
I'm here all afternoon. I have hot yoga at 6:15, so I'll stay there till 6. If anyone wants to go do hot yoga at 6:15, come on. The hardest thing I've ever done.
Do you have questions you want to ask? Yeah, there you
Yes.
go.
All right, we need a mic though, right? Because we're taping this. Do you okay to be on mic?
Yeah,
We're all
it's
ready. Okay.
He's totally fine.
He's totally fine.
I can talk about it.
Okay, you can, I'm just grabbing in front of
No,
you.
that's not fine. I have like a two-part question. I don't know if you know, like off the top of your head, the $540 that goes to athletics. Do you know if that's an increase from last year or not?
It's a very small increase. The only increase from a year ago was helping some of the student athletes with their scholarships. So some of our varsity athletes have scholarships and we had increased tuition, so we helped defray a portion of that.
Okay.
So it was a very nominal increase.
Okay. So yeah, I guess the second part of it's like, why is it that offices such as like ODIME are like losing funding, whereas like athletics and like giving students like athletes like free tuition and like monthly or like semester stipends of like over $1,000 is like going up, but like offices like ODIME are like not able to have enough funding for the students.
Right, great question. So can I reframe that just for a second? So the question was really like, why are some parts of the organization losing money and other gaining, and specifically ODIME versus athletic? Actually, everybody had to cut the last 2 years. So everyone went through painful state budget cuts, and nobody was happy. In terms of the overall increases, we weren't able to cover all of the increases that people wanted or needed. So my office took cuts, ODIME, student life.
So ODIME is part of University Life. Every office in University Life took a cut, ODIME included, and very, very few offices had increases to the budget. The STEP program, which is run through ODIME, was one of the few programs that actually had a budget increase.
Which is actually also why we're so excited from what we see with the state this year. So again, the last 2 years, those of you who have been here, it has been really, really tough. Back-to-back years of less funding from the state, and really a time when we were growing and thriving and students needing more and more services. We really, I give a lot of credit to the faculty and staff and students with just being able to help us, get by. But I think this year we feel like we're really in a different trajectory. We feel that the state will provide additional investments in the state, and we hope to be able to prioritize those, there's resource constraints everywhere. You know that, and hopefully we can address the most pressing needs. Great question.
I'm also happy to continue to talk about ODIME, and so if you want to wait, there's a vacancy.
Hi.
Hi, this is a question regarding the funding for Robinson Hall.
Right?
You said that 35% of the classes
Yeah.
are on campus are in
Yeah.
Robinson Hall.
Right.
I'm just curious, if they go full on with construction and all that, how would those classes be affected?
Right.
Where would these classes go in regards to the construction?
Great question. So a couple of things. One, as you all know, we're building Peterson Hall, which is up at the north end of campus. That will have additional new classrooms. The other thing we'll do with Robinson is we won't take it all down simultaneously. So we'll take Robinson A down first, and then have temporary classrooms, and then shift it back and forth. So we won't take 30% of the university's classrooms down in one day. We'll actually build some capacity first, so I put new classrooms online, shift some of the classes that are in Robinson Hall up to the north end of campus, and then modulate it between Robinson A and Robinson B.
And just one more.
Sure.
Well, okay, so what would, I'm sorry, I just lost.
You know what, I'll come back to you, and I'll be here till 6 o'clock, right? Anybody want to do how to go? Okay, all right, go ahead, yes.
Hi, I just have a question about diversity at Mason. So I know that we've had the conversations about Mason being more inclusive and having to do more with less. So are there any resources in the plan or in future plannings towards staff development for more cultural competency for our staff members?
Absolutely. You want to start and then I'll finish?
Yeah, I mean, so we're calling the overall initiative Inclusive Excellence, and I think we're waiting to hear what the kind of budget outlook is, to know how the dollars break down, but here's what I can tell you. We've got a mandate from the president to create a recruitment plan for faculty of color. We've got a mandate from the president to increase trainings in cultural competency development for faculty and staff and students, and none of that can just happen without additional funding. So I think we can be much more specific once we have a clear sense of the budget outlook.
Yeah, I mean, we can commit to you that there will be increased resources. What we can't yet do is give you the finer details. But I think it's as Rose said, it's in our values and we're committed to it and we'll put resources to it. Yes?
I just found my question.
Excellent. Excellent.
So, when would you anticipate the construction of Robinson Hall?
Yeah, great question. I think we have about 6 to 12 months worth of planning. And I would say it would be about 18 when you start to see real construction.
Awesome, thank you.
2018. Hi.
I have a question.
Okay.
I know many students tend to, when they see construction of things happening on campus, they're kind of, when things are being built. So I don't know if either one of you can kind of explain the difference between, we have some buildings that are state funded and then we have some buildings and things that are going to be happening soon that are going to be funded by fundraising and stuff like that. So just to explain that difference.
Yes, great question. So the question is really about there's a lot of construction going on, but there's different pots of money. I'm paraphrasing your. So a couple things, right? So Peterson building, which will house Health and Human Services, will also have a clinic in it, which would be fabulous. That is a mixture of state funds and gifts. So we actually had a private donor provide resources, and that was an incredible brainchild of the president and the development team, and Paul Liberty and others. Other projects require investment through student funds. I'll give you a noticeable example. Dorms. Dormitories, we cannot use state funds. We're not provided state funds for that. So we build those, and then you pay a fee to live in the building. Most notably, and we talked about this 2 days ago, I didn't actually put the slide in. Maybe I was slightly remiss, but we are about to embark on a very large proposal for additional student housing. So 2 things to note. At the March board meeting, for those of you that are interested, we've been working on up to 1,000 new beds for students. It's a combination of long-term, the goal to take the student apartments offline, and to potentially put additional housing on our campus. We will probably seek a private developer and financer as a partner in that. Why? One, because we don't want to affect our debt anymore, and 2, because we think there's a real partnership opportunity, public-private, to work together. So stay tuned on that. That is also a pretty big initiative for us. We don't have it all sorted out yet, but we're keenly aware that there's increased interest in having additional dorm spaces on our campus, so we want to be able to accommodate that.
Hey Jay, why can't we use construction money for other purposes?
Oh, great question. So construction dollars tend to be both one-time in nature and most notably they're debt financed, so they're bonded. So they're not applicable to be able to put into general operating. Is that too technical? I know. Okay.
I'm sorry? So there's,
Can I see that? Sorry.
Okay, so the question is around, there is a proposal to have a private donor raise funds to build an addition on the rack. And the question that we got early on was, will that affect my student fees? And the answer is no. So the proposal is to seek philanthropic funding to provide an addition on the back of the rack. If we're successful in fundraising, which the president and this board has been wildly successful in doing, we will build the addition. If we're not able to, we won't at this point. Yes.
I know the fundraising initiative that they talked about for parking is there projected construction or more parking?
Yeah, so the question is more parking on campus, what's options? You know, parking is a really complex issue, and I would love to do just a whole session with Josh Cantor on parking. It is, for the purposes of the growing number of students and faculty and staff, cars and people don't really mix well, right? So long-term, perhaps the goal will be to find additional parking, but maybe perhaps more on West Campus and create a more walkable campus. At the moment, we have no additional plans to add another parking garage in the center of campus. So what we will continue to do is to find ways to price appropriately, lower cost options that require a little bit longer walk or a little bit of a bus ride, and higher price parking in the real central location. Long term, we've got a master plan. They're happy to share it. It generates lots of interest every year. So again, some future point, maybe we do a parking session with that is of interest. Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yes.
This is a question about President Rivera. I was informed that he makes a significant amount of money each year just from his salary, a lot more than any other Virginia state college president. Where does the funding come from that goes directly towards his salary?
That's a great question. So the question is around President Cabrera's salary. So a portion of President Cabrera's salary is paid with state taxpayer dollars, and a portion is funded by the foundation. All of that information is public. His salary is set by our board of visitors. So I'm not personally involved, nor any of us, but the board who serves as, in essence, his boss, negotiates and manages that. Yes, all the way back.
Yeah, so related to the question of the, I don't need a microphone.
Yeah, adore that, that's great.
Related to the question of the president's salary as well as administrative salaries in general, as you probably already know, the provost adjunct salary matrix is extremely low. $2,500 per free credit, which is below the poverty line, even if you're teaching full-time. So you mentioned that you advocated for pay increases for faculty in the government and the governor's budget, and I'd like to know how much of that went towards advocating towards an increase in adjunct faculty salary.
Yeah, great question. So we are very focused on adjunct pay. In fact, just in the winter did things to support additional compensation for the adjunct who are actually reducing their parking as a way to get direct dollars into their paycheck. So we will increment adjunct pay accordingly as if there are raises. So if we do raises, we look across the spectrum of our employee workforce. There's also, by the way, an adjunct task force that continues to work on both short-term and long-term things to support our incredibly vital adjunct workforce here. Great question. Yes?
You guys said that about a little over $1,000 in student fees goes to university student services.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what offices specifically that money goes to?
I'm going to hand that one right to Rose.
Sure, right. So when you think student services, think all of the offices in university life that come, you pay for that out of a combination of that 7% from tuition and then whatever the percentage was from fees, right? So a percentage of your fees and a percentage of your tuition goes towards student services. But what I would say is you want to think bigger than university life. So university life, a lot of the direct student service offices that you might be familiar with, like student involvement, like student government, like LEAD, and all the direct support services, like counseling, like health, like disability, international, ODIME, LGBTQ. I'm going to leave out another 15, right? But outside of that, think broadly student support services. So think of offices like financial aid or SAIL, right? Service learning, integrated learning, or somebody help the writing center, or?
Counseling center.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Counseling
counseling is
center, right.
within, yeah, it's within University Life. So think broadly student support services both in University Life and outside of University Life. It's a combination of all of those.
Yes.
I know there are increased costs of application for bringing students on campus who are freshman year. But is there any money going towards tuition for off-campus students that weren't prepared to stay on campus?
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of retention initiatives that are happening on campus, both across academic affairs and University Life. One of the interesting projects that we're piloting in University Life is a peer coaching model, because a lot of the research right now is showing that students who coach other students tend to hear that information more effectively and also tend to stay. It's a new program, and so we're kind of gauging what the impact is on retention. In academic affairs, there are several initiatives that are focused on retention, but it's not, I mean, so when we cut the pie, we don't look at residential versus commuter. We really look across the board at how do we increase academic success. Yes, thank you. Go ahead, Shannon. Janet really is the assistant.
I'll do that. So it's probably worth noting that one of the services that the off-campus student services office provides is they have what's intended to kind of parallel the RA experience. And so they have students that reach out and take appointments. An amazing, I wish I knew the statistics off the top of my head today, but I don't. Actually, an amazing number of students who don't live on campus actually come into that office and sit down with what is very similar to a peer coach to talk about how to access student services, what's available to them, and how to get involved in a way that meets the needs of their lifestyle. So if you want to know more about that, come and talk to me, but we have a lot of off-campus students who have kind of that similar experience, and they reach out routinely to that audience. They do things like high fives in the parking lot, so if students are coming in after parking, different offices will partner with that office and hand out information about programming and partnering, and that's all meant to generate that sense of community that we know helps with retention, especially for those students who sometimes don't connect as easily.
That's such a big one. Thank you for mentioning that. And also, remember that the 24/7 study space was really about responding to commuter students who want to stay here as late as they can in the library and in some of their study rooms.
Okay, so we'll take one more question, and then what we're gonna do is, we have cards, right? So write your question. If we don't get them, actually, I'll take 2 quick questions, so you can go ahead and get them. And then we'll stay after if there's any individual questions.
Could you comment on the size and scope of the cuts that went to the library? And were those funds then repurposed in a different direction? And how was that, how did we come to that decision when we're now a Research One Research One University?
Right, so great question. So the question is, what about the cuts to the library? So again, when I first got here, the first couple of months on the job, the state asked for budget cuts, both for fiscal year 15 and fiscal year 16. The way we handled those cuts, and we did pretty detailed presentations on it, is we asked the academic and administrative units to all take cuts and allow the unit heads to have flexibility around what those cuts would look like and where they would come for their unit. Those decisions ultimately funneled up to the provost and myself. And again, if you want to see where those cuts came, we'll provide them, but it's every leader was asked to figure out how within the learning organization they would be able to take state budget cuts. And we return those funds to the state. So again, fully transparent on it. We can, every organization, every part of the organization cut. In the end, particularly in the 15, the administrative side took more cuts than the academic side. But I can give you specific details offline if you want to.
So the library is under the academic?
It sits under the academic portion of the provost office, yes. Last question, yes?
This is kind of broad, but does the budget focus on what is necessary?
Say it louder.
This is a broad question, but my question is, does the budget focus on what is necessary?
Does the budget focus on what is necessary? Yes.
I can, added to that, like, is it, well, you were talking about renovating Robinson Hall, but is it really necessary to renovate Robinson Hall? Like,
Is it really necessary to renovate Robinson Hall? So we go through a fairly extensive annual process, both in terms of what do people need and want to do their job well, to serve students well, an annual budget process, as well as on the capital side, which you're specifically asking, we do a needs assessment looking at our facilities. What condition are the facilities in? Are they a good learning environment for our students? How old is the HVAC system? What's the roof repair look like? Robinson was identified almost a decade ago as a facility in poor condition. Poor condition from the HVAC, the roofing, the design of the facility. It was not meeting the needs either of the workforce or the students. Yes, it's an incredibly expensive building, but one in which, again, if you look at the overall comprehensive needs assessment, stood out as, for now a decade, strong advocacy that building needed to be either substantially renovated or replaced. Okay, did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. All right, so, you can stay here all evening.
I'm staying here all evening. But I do want to say one more thing. And actually, I think when you asked the Robinson question, here's what I would say about Mason, both the challenges and what I love about this place. And I've been here a long time, right? There are big resources, right? There are big resource needs here. When you think about a building like Robinson that's pretty antiquated for a learning space, or the Wi-Fi, infrastructure that needs to occur, or the increase in my world, all the student services that, that we want to offer more effectively in order to keep students here, particularly when they're committed to access, right? Like, there's a lot of resources, and this institution historically worked so hard to keep expenses down. So it's the reason why Mason is a Best Buy. It's the reason why your tuition is at the lower end of things is because the institution is working their hardest. And honestly, JJ and her team are working their hardest to keep expenses down because that's the university that we want to be in Virginia. So it's always a balancing act. As long as I've been here, it's been a balancing act about, figuring out where the resources need to go. That's what I love about this place, right? Because if we had a lot more money and we're willing to raise tuition a whole lot more, we wouldn't have these kinds of issues that we have now. So just kind of keep that in mind as we have these conversations. There's not the big pot of money in the sky, and it's just about figuring out who to dole it out to. JJ's team worked so hard at this, and external reviewers have said Mason operates incredibly efficiently. Not Mason saying that, not Mason saying that. External, because our board has said, show us that you're operating efficiently. And they've come back and said there's not a lot to cut here, right? So, we want to be in this conversation with you, but I think it's also, right, that's real, right? That's the real deal.
Yeah, I used to have a graphic, and maybe I'll bring it back. I used to say, we're trying to do three things. We want to be affordable, we want to remain accessible, but we also want to maintain high quality. And inherently, those three pull on each other, right? Those three sort of the Venn diagram pulls. And that is the challenge before us, and will continue to be before us. But I think for us, it's always the opportunity to engage with students and faculty and staff to make sure we get that prioritization right. And that's what makes Mason fun. We're a very collaborative, open-door institution, and we like to work together. So she said it best, and I love being partnered with you, and we'll stay around afterwards if you have any other questions. So thank you.